Guys, focus up. Okay?
Yeah, lead us to the promised land, Big Papa.
That's what they... Yeah, I guess that's what I get called by you right now.
I probably have called you that before.
Anyway, hello and welcome back. We're the Tough Gut Podcast, and I'm Matthew.
No, you're Big Papa. I'm Alex.
And I'm Lil Boy.
Wow, wait. There's a different energy. Can I change my name?
Yeah.
Just
go
this
for it.
once.
I'm the middle one.
You sound like an eldritch being. Like, wait.
I am the middle one.
Thanks, guys. This is episode 108, part 3 of the Alien bracket.
Scary.
Aliens are
Some of them are scary, but sometimes it's friendly.
You
We
say
didn't put ET in
summertime?
this bracket.
Fuck ET.
It's not summertime,
I'll say
okay? I
it.
know you really want to go on your tough cut PTO, but you can't. It's not allowed.
I didn't qualify for paid time off this year.
Yeah, you haven't accrued enough days, Jake.
Yeah. That's on me.
Yeah, so coming at you in today's episode, we got a couple of fun
scary
ones.
ones. I'm scared.
In the first half of the bracket, we've got Alien versus Predator. And then in the second half, we've got District 9 versus Starship Troopers. So lots of fun to be had.
It's kind of wild that none of my movies moved on, but hey, that's okay. I like the ones we're talking about.
I like them too. And I like the movies you pitched as well.
Aww.
What do you pitch? I'm gonna.
Jake,
I like the movies you pitch.
Yeah, so
I like them. I like them a lot.
anything else we say,
Yeah.
Jake?
I mean, we're gonna be spoiling these movies. If that's what, if you think people care about that kind of a thing, yeah, we're spoiling these movies. We're gonna be spoiling the endings. We're gonna be spoiling the middle. Not really the beginning. We're not gonna talk about the beginnings of any of these movies. We talked about it beforehand. We made a promise, no beginning. So if you're worried about spoiling the beginning, don't worry. Not in this episode. We're not gonna do that. But spoiler warning for the rest.
Thanks, Jake.
I have a
With
feeling
that
if
said-
Matthew and I ever did like a formal improv together, that would be his response to half the shit I'd say. He'd be like, "Thank you," and just be like seething with anger that I ever uttered a single fucking word in my life.
As a college-trained improviser,
Red flag.
honestly, it is. Jake, do you want to go ahead and introduce or reintroduce Predator?
No, but you could go.
Okay.
Wow, I can't believe he just no-but you.
Yeah.
It's like he
he's
didn't even
not-
have improv training.
Not a collegiate trained
No
improviser.
one could trade me. I'm untradeable, baby.
No one can tame thee.
Why do you say
So
me?
Alien, released in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, taking place in the future. The crew of the Nostromo intercepts a distress signal from a planet way out in the space boonies. And what they find, it's a weird guy in a chair. And he's got a bunch of eggs. And then they take one of those eggs back on their ship. And things get a little bit crazy.
My favorite
Yeah.
rom-com ever is Alien.
Basically, it turns out that egg is an alien called a Xenomorph, and the Xenomorph's life cycle involves burrowing inside your stomach and bursting out. And then they're just like a little guy, and then they grow bigger very quickly, and they must kill.
I love the idea that they choose to bring the egg back on the ship, and not that it attaches to a guy's face and someone makes the bad decision to let him back on the ship.
Yeah, you could say that. We promise not to talk about the beginning of these movies, though. So
Damn,
you can't
right.
actually correct me.
That's like half an hour into the movie. I don't know that I'd count it as the beginning anymore.
Oof. Okay, you got me there. Yeah, I lied a little bit, but oh well. They brought him back. They should have let him die. It's much like the dog in The Thing, if only the guy had better aim. Most
And
of
the
these
moral-
films could have been solved if we just like made better choices.
I feel like most
every
things
movie.
could be
That's
solved.
just there's conflict. Matthew's like, I prefer my movies to have zero conflict in them.
Yeah, so I pitched Alien because it's a classic. I love this movie very, very much. I think the Xenomorph is so fun. It's so creepy, crazy looking, skulking around those hallways. I love the scene at the end when he's laying on the shelf. I think that is iconic.
It is pretty iconic.
I like this movie a lot all around. I think it is such a huge piece of the sci-fi genre. I love the H.R. Geiger-esque ship design of the alien spacecraft. I love the like industrial space design of the Nostromo. It's all so good. What's it going up against, Jake?
It's going up against Predator. This is a tale as old as time. It's the 1987 original Predator, directed by John McTiernan. And this is about
as old as time.
Literally, this is what that's what inspired Beauty and the Beast, was this matchup. Don't fact check me on that or look up dates.
I mean, I know which one's Beauty and which one's Beast.
Honestly, you're right.
We all do. We all know which one is Beauty and which one is Beast, I feel like.
I know what society thinks they are, but if they were in a couple, I think they'd be switched.
I honestly kind of agree with that.
I do. I think because we're all saying that Predator's Beast,
yes,
Xenomorph is Beauty, right?
Yeah,
on
100%.
paper, 100%. But if you really think about it, Xenomorph is more like kill, beast, like hunt. And Predator's kind of elegant. They got those fishnets. They got those sexy little mouths.
What I'm saying.
They got we switched in their dynamic. But I think outwardly, we're not talking about this right now. It's
yeah, this is our later conversation.
This is our later conversation.
This is when we get into the actual matchup.
This is about a group of soldiers led by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, who go in, part of the government, to rescue a group of politicians trapped in Guatemala, but they find everybody slaughtered because an alien has landed in their remote area and they are hunting them down for sport and honor. And yeah, this movie is just like, for me, the epitome of a really good 80s alien movie, and just an alien movie in general. Talking about humanity, talking about masculinity in a really fun way, in a really smart way. The design is really cool. The motive is really cool. It's not just like kill. It's like, like honor kill and all that stuff. I think the world building is very fun about like what is potential going forward for these guys. It's just like everything I want in an alien movie. So I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So with that said,
yeah, I think that like the Predator is a more like regal, like kind of like I think it is more beauty. There's more beauty behind their movements. It's more purposeful. Xenomorph is more like naturally beautiful, but I think Predator like takes the care.
Naturally beautiful. You want to unpack that? What do you think about when you see the Xenomorph, Jake?
I could send you pictures that you wouldn't believe that aren't saved on my phone. I'm not even gonna.
Well, hit me up after the podcast.
Not only saved, he could find those pictures in seconds.
100%.
Oh my god, Jake! You sent those to the group chat so fast.
Yeah. They look good. Look, Xenomorphs.
We gotta get past the physical. Nature of this matchup.
Wait, Matthew, your mic stand raised on its own. What?
It's Alien vs Predator, baby. But
wait,
not
Matt,
the movie.
What's that second microphone in your video?
Not the movie AVP from 2004. We're talking the movie Alien.
I unironically did like the first Alien vs Predator. Hated the other
one in the snow.
Okay, you actually are blowing my mind right now that there's more than one Alien versus Predator.
There's one called AVP Requiem. Again, they do the thing.
This man knows his stuff. Right off the top
I love
of the
both
dome.
of these. I love both of these franchises a lot. But they do the stupid thing where they make a really solid first entry and they're like whatever they're trying to do, and then the next one they're like, but what if it was like in like an American city? And then you're just like, boring, dumb. I don't want the Predator to be in New York. Like, I don't want.
Yeah, I'm not trying to watch Leprechaun.
So what's the plot of these? Is it just like Predator is like, oh, this is the most dangerous game, and then goes to fight the Xenomorph?
In the first one, they go to Antarctica and they find like a pyramid, like they're digging up like a pyramid site. And it turns out that that's where the queen Xenomorph, or one of the queens, obviously there are multiple, was in the ancient
obviously.
societies and stuff. They would like birth a bunch of aliens and stuff, and blah 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 blah. But now that they dug them up, they're running amok and stuff. And the humanity obviously, like, they activate the eggs and the face grabbers, like, come and blah blah blah. The predators come. Apparently, it's a rite of passage for a predator to come to this spot exactly and force the queen alien who they captured and tied up and force her to give birth to some aliens so that the younger predators can earn their marks and finally kill an alien and then gain. It's like a bar mitzvah for predators. I'm like not even kidding.
So it's like a predator rite of passage is to come to Earth, to Antarctica, to release a couple eggs so that way they can like hunt the most dangerous game.
Yeah, to hunt a xenomorph and gain that. And that's the only way you can gain an ancient weapon that the predators use, that little shoulder gun that can with the 3 dots. That's the only way. If you see a predator with that in lore, it's because they killed a xenomorph. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
And in it, a human befriends like a predator and they fight together with honor to take down the queen. But the queen at the end, spoilers for everybody, impregnates the predator, and the last shot is the predator laying on the alien ship, and then an alien comes out. So you're like, oh, what's that going to look like? Because it's not human anatomy. It's
because we learned in Aliens that the xenomorph's characteristics are taken from their host when they're birthed.
Yeah.
That's why the xenomorph looks so much like a human.
I mean,
you see them chompers. I think it's so funny how fast their teeth like chitter chatter. It's so cute.
I think you're cute.
Yeah. So there is a lot of lore here, a lot of lore regarding, aliens
I kind of
versus
nerded
predators.
out about aliens versus
No,
predators.
you're good. You're good.
It's so fascinating to me because I have literally no idea about any of it. You could be saying utter, like, complete lies to me, and I would have to believe you.
Well, if you start to get into the expanded universe content, when in regard to the Alien vs. Predator franchise, it actually turns out that it's not just you get your plasma caster when you kill an alien. In fact, it becomes the fact that they have to kill a xenomorph in one-on-one combat while unarmed. That's only in the expanded universe stuff. They clarify that later on.
This is true. And Topher Grace is a part of it.
That's also true.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of baggage here, and I feel like we've spent no time talking about these two movies specifically.
But I love these two movies a lot. These to me, this is almost the finals matchup. Like, this is like Alien versus Predator. Like, these are like two quintessential classic like sci-fi alien movies. Like, if you ask 100 people, I don't know, 60 of them are going to say one of these two movies, I bet. And they're both emblematic of something that I was thinking about when we were doing the first 2 rounds. Because, it takes us sometimes a little bit to really understand kind of what we're comparing and what we're doing. And we're talking about, it's the Alien bracket. It's not necessarily the movie, but it's about the alien, what it stands for, its design, what it does, how cool it is, how sexy it is, like all these things. And both of these, the last one's for me. Both of these films, I think, are excellent metaphors for real human like things. Like, we were talking about this a little bit in the last couple of episodes, but obviously, like, alien allegories are really, really emblematic about the human condition and humanity as a whole. Like, there's this,
Jake, if you're about to fucking say the way that these movies represent humanity, the way that they mirror humanity, I'm gonna strangle you because that's why you didn't pick the movies that they went up against last time.
What do you mean?
You didn't pick my movies because you said it was about the alien, not about the metaphor for humanity that those movies did.
No, those are just about
Fifth Element has a bigger metaphor for humanity than Alien?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's being consistent.
What I'm saying, I'll clarify my argument there. What I was saying before is that the humans are at the forefront for those ones, I felt like. Whereas these, it's the alien that's the forefront of the metaphor for humanity. Like, the humans aren't necessarily the vehicle that you need to go like forward. It's the aliens. Like, there's this whole concept in like specifically sci-fi where, our brains cannot comprehend something that's out there that's alien because we only know humanity stuff. You look at Star Wars, all the planets, it's Middle Eastern architecture, but they just say, oh, it's alien because it's not an American audience and we don't usually see it.
That's a whole separate problem we have to unpack when it comes to.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we can't. So when you have a xenomorph and you have the predator, these are still coming from like, you know, human characteristics. Like the xenomorph was created as an allegory for like, you know, serious like assault. And like that was like kind of its whole deal. And the predator, like talking about like humanity's like pride and like the sins of like, you know, pride and like hierarchy and like stuff like that. That's kind of its whole deal. And I just think it's like super interesting that these two are the like most popular ones, kind of talking about what we have.
So I think these are both movies that, to your point, carry a lot of powerful theming in regard to this idea of like what they stand in for, what they represent as far as what they're communicating about the human experience or the human story. I think it's very clear, for example, in Predator, that it's talking about like a lot of what we talked about last time. These themes or discussions relating to masculinity and like that whole idea. It is, you know, it is not through the key subversion there. It is not through the strength, but through the like power of the mind. In terms of the alien, I do think that this allegory that you're alluding to, this, for all intents and purposes, allegory for sexual assault, stands true, but I don't think it is the only piece of like symbolism related to the human experience or what have you that the alien is symbolic of. Or more broadly, like I think the movie is also saying a lot of other things. Beyond just that, I guess, is the piece I'm throwing out.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. You make a good movie, like it's going to be about multiple things all at once. But just as far as like the creator's intention as to why they made certain designs like that way and like kind of the attributes of like what's alien, like kind of talking about it that way, which I just think is very interesting. I think it's interesting that a lot of people label Alien is labeled as a horror sci-fi. So it's like predominantly like horror, and Predator is labeled as like a sci-fi action movie. And, you know, you're both talking about aliens and stuff, but the xenomorph is made to be more like quote unquote horrifying as like an alien concept. And then Predator is kind of pitched more as like a, like, you know, it's this actiony, like it is scary. Obviously they're hunting them down, but it's more like the action stars around it just by the way they're like shown to us in these two films.
Yeah. I mean, the Predator is like, it's an alien, but it's also like dude shaped, you know?
Yeah. It's human.
Versus Alien, like I guess Alien is humanoid in the sense that it has like 2 arms, 2 legs, but it also has like weird tail. We see its whole life cycle where it's like the little face hugger and then the little baby guy. So I mean, I think, yeah, I mean it's just design.
Yeah, which I think plays a role in this like overarching idea that you're trying to get at a little bit, Jake. I think the Predator is utilizing the humanistic traits of the Predator to like further its theming, to like contextualize, you know, how we're supposed to understand the character in context of the movie. Part of the reason why it's like such a, you know, fun reveal when you finally see its face and it's like, ooh, it's a ghoul face under there. Whereas, you know, Alien is much more conventionally like otherworldly about the creature it's utilizing. There are, outside of like these like strict biological factors of like 2 arms, 2 legs, got a head, it is like very different from, you know, it is quintessential xenobiology, you know, like it's very clearly alien. It's very clearly not of Earth. It is not of things we're familiar with, which are also like inherently tied to concepts of inspiring fear, like the things we don't understand we are frequently afraid of, you know. Things of that sort I think also contribute to the design and then the overall like genre trappings they're going for.
Do you guys think, so I've watched a couple of videos about like the making of Predator, And so apparently before it was the Predator, they had like this goofy ass like bug alien suit. How do you think the movie would be different if it was this like silly thing where a guy was wearing like a big head that like went a foot up above the top of his head and like wobbled around as he ran?
Matthew would have enjoyed it more.
I got
that would have made Matt turned on.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, whoa. Oh. Huh. I will say it is decidedly more alien looking. I actually kind of like it.
Really?
See, I knew it.
This is gonna make Jake say some kind of dumb comment. He's a little more like kaiju pilled with the like bug head. He looks like he's like from an episode of like, I don't know, either one, he's powering up to fight Godzilla, or two, he's from an episode of Power Rangers. Like he looks like a Power Rangers villain.
He does look like a Power Rangers villain.
Guy who's only seen Godzilla and Power Rangers. Wow, I'm getting real Godzilla and Power Rangers vibes from this.
That's very good. That's a very good joke, Jake.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. You to 8-year-old me.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Literally, though.
Oh my gosh. So I think there's this really interesting point though that you're making underlying it is they made an intentional choice to make the Predator look more human.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of it I think comes to the big reveal of like the Predator face is like, oh God, it really is a spooky alien under there.
Yeah.
Like, but what else do you think that like change is serving? Like, how else do you like? What lens do you see this through? You know,
I think it serves in a lot of ways to make it more serious. Like in the way that this outfit in like practical effects shown in the light mostly of this jungle. Like, I think it is difficult to kind of make a body that has this like weird giant head look intense in like running and action scenes, you know? I think in a lot of ways it's a practical choice. Like solidifying it and then like getting the reveal of like you don't really know what this is until you take the mask off and then it's like proven rather than I guess kind of going back to Jake's point of like sci-fi horror versus sci-fi action. Like the horror of Predator is not in it's not about like seeing the thing, if that makes sense. Like it's about the circumstance in a way. Like obviously that's a huge factor in Alien as well, right? Like they're stranded on the ship. But I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of it's different. Like you're in the wilderness rather than like
context plays a role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're on Earth rather than encountering an alien in space, you know? Like there's a huge difference there. And it's an interesting difference when you're talking about alien movies where like, you know, there's either the aliens that are in outer space and oh, scary other planets, we have to go visit them, or when aliens come to Earth, what do we do? What is our response? And both of these tackle them differently, and I think that's very interesting. I think to answer your point, Matthew, I think there's also like I think it leans into that whole just a man thing. Like I think there's like this masculinity, like the Predator is like donned in clothing, but it's not about like the armor and like all this stuff. It's about like, you know, again, they have like the fishnets, they have all their like little tools and like stuff. Like it's very like they're showing off their masculinity in like a different way, and that it could be a man. I mean, the original design was based off of it was a painting of a Rastafarian warrior that was in like some dude's office, and they're just like, oh, that looks like sick as hell. We're gonna make our design off of that.
Guy who's only ever seen Rastafarian warrior.
Exactly. That's hilarious. But yeah, it's so hard for me, this matchup, because I think both of these alien movies do like a near perfect job about like the kind of alien story they're trying to tell. And a lot of people boil it down to like these aliens are killing people and someone's got to survive. Like that is what happens. Like you got your main hero, they're surviving in the end and blah, blah, blah. But again, encountering an alien in space versus encountering an alien on Earth, I think is just such an interesting distinction when it comes to telling alien stories and what's the point in them and like what we look for in an Alien feature.
Sorry to entirely change the subject.
Yeah, you go for it.
I think an interesting thing about both of these movies and their franchises is that, for the most part, the thing that moved on, and you guys can feel free to correct me as well, because I do not have
the thing didn't move
knowledge. Wow. Okay. The thing that moved on from each of these movies was the alien and the predator, not like, oh, it's another movie about Ripley stuck in space, right? I could be wrong about that. I don't really know the history of the alien movies. But like the fact that the monster is what moved on rather than being about like, oh, the main character who survived is in it again. And I feel like that is a very different thing and a very interesting thing about these two franchises.
Well, and what's interesting for Alien is that Sigourney does come back for the movie, like for Aliens, and it is like because she was like stuck out and like did all these things. And certain characters do come back in some Predator movies, but you're right. I think it's very interesting that the coolest thing about these movies and why people want to keep watching, it's not for whatever characters you see. It is for the creatures themselves, which why these are two, like for the Alien bracket, like the aliens are the coolest thing about them. And I think it's an important thing to note going forward for like, you know,
the like most fundamental calculus in the fact that the Xenomorph is the thing, part of the thing that people love so much. I also think there is like so much to talk like that is of value in Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. I think there is a lot of really interesting stuff in this idea of like last girl in space that branches into some other themes, but more specifically, like Alien, the sequel was just called Aliens.
Yeah,
because there are multiple Xenomorphs, and in like, like that was the baseline that got butts in seats, you know, like,
yeah.
Oh shit, it's gonna be Aliens with an S.
And I will say, when they did that shit for Predator and just the Predators movie, that one also went hard. I hate to say it, but that one went hard. That's the one where they drop them off on the island. I'm pretty sure.
That's one with Adrian Brody.
And Topher Grace.
Adrian Brody.
And Lawrence Fishburne, I think.
Yeah, but it's the one before the really bad one.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
We can't. I can't
But Prey was really great.
That's true. The Predator had to happen for Prey to happen, I think. So I'll allow it. And I don't mean that in terms of like literal continuity. I mean in terms of like we had to know what it felt like.
Yeah, we need to do something
anyway,
better.
We're pretty much at time here for this matchup. Which it will be truly sad to see one of them go, because I do think that like these are two of the big names in the genre. They are archetypes of the genre. Like there is so much here to dig into. There's so much here to love. We spent 20% of our time talking about nonsense, but hey, that's the tough cut, baby. We gotta vote though.
I talked about these movies. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, we all did.
These movies.
We did collectively together.
Why
Jake,
do you
talk so much? Jake, you talk so much about these movies. You vote then.
Okay,
we keep making Jake vote first.
Yeah, I'm voting for undecided. Matthew, what are you voting for?
Yeah, I can start us up. I think, in a weird way, the thing that got me in talking about these films is
wait. I have an important question before you vote. I have a really important question.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
He's mad at you.
Close your eyes. I'm sorry. I have to ask this question because this is the perfect matchup for it. Close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching a cartoon. There's a 10-year-old boy with a cool watch. He flips his watch, and a little hologram of the Xenomorph shows up. He slams it down, and Ben 10 turns into a Xenomorph. What's he calling himself? What's his nickname?
Benjamin Tennyson.
I don't know enough about the Ben 10 naming conventions.
There's forearms. There's XLR8. There's
Tiny Mouth.
Mighty Mouth or Tiny Mouth?
Tiny Mouth, because he's got a little mouth inside.
Okay, close your eyes. 10-year-old boy.
Benjamorph.
Benjamorph is a really good. I think it's Benjamorph. Okay.
Yeah, that's really good.
2. flips his watch again. It's the little hologram of the Predator. He slams it down. Ben 10 is turning into the Predator. What's he call himself?
A reversal. We're cutting that joke out.
That's really funny. wait, ask me again.
Sorry. Ben 10 slams down his watch. He's turning into the Predator. What's he call himself?
Woody Allen.
That's my joke, but better.
Wow. Okay, so Matt, what were you gonna vote for?
Well, I think for political reasons, I'm gonna vote for the Benjamorph.
Here I am shooting myself in the foot again. I'm voting for Predator.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm voting for Alien.
Yeah,
gotta go with the Benjamorph.
You're right.
No. subtract that from it. What's the heart vote for?
No, I think I'm voting for. I would vote for Alien.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were swayed by how. All right. Well, with that,
people who again, when a lot of people listen to this one, they find out it's Alien versus Predator. Like, we gotta know, and when it boils down to that bullshit, they're gonna be so upset.
Everyone's gonna.
I had a real reason for what I voted for
I also had a real reason.
Hey, well, now the world will never know.
They'll never know.
Save it for our Patreon.
That's for our Patreon.
We don't, guys.
We're building it up.
This is us planting the seeds. Don't worry, audience. We're gonna harvest on this one in about 6 years' time. It'll make a lot of sense then. Anyway, the second half of this episode, we've got 2 movies pitched by Matthew.
Whoa.
Y'all call me when it's time to vote. Yeah.
Aww.
Kidding, I love you. I'm excited.
No, it's okay. You can grump on me. I deserve it a little bit.
No, you don't. What are you talking about?
So the first one we've got here is District 9, released in 2009, directed by Neil Blomkamp. Aliens come to Earth. Interesting. However, instead of your Independence Day fare, instead of your Predator fare, instead of coming here to just start duking on some boys, the so-called prawns, they're dirty, nasty, gross little guys. They're starving to death in their spaceship. So humans do what they do best, and we commit atrocities against them and force them into a slum. The film follows our main character Wickus as he works for the multinational corporation that is working to relocate the prawns to an area known as District 9. So they're being moved from the slums in the city to a tent city outside of Johannesburg, in what is a thinly veiled allegory for apartheid. District 9, I think, is just like a really interesting take on the aliens come to Earth story. I think there is a lot to dig into as far as I think it is a very smart movie. It knows it's a pretty smart movie most of the time. And I like it quite a bit. On the other side of this matchup, we've got wildly Starship Troopers, released in 1997, directed by Paul Verhoeven. What to say about this film? Adapted by Robert A. Heinlein's book by the same name, follows the story of the All-American from Buenos Aires named Johnny Rico, as he joins up with the mobile infantry, to fight against an arachnid species known as the bugs. It is Paul Verhoeven's, in my mind, masterpiece, where he convinced a major motion picture studio to give him $100 million to make an anti-fascist movie, and it's incredible. I love it a lot. All right, so District 9 versus Starship Troopers. Funnily enough, when it comes to a conversation to kick this one off, we've got an aliens come to Earth versus meeting aliens in space movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's our take?
I've been talking a lot, so I'm letting you guys speak.
I guess my take. 'Cause
I was thinking about it. I'm stewing on it. Matt, you go.
Yeah, so similar to the way that Alien and Predator, like, it makes a fairly important contextual difference. I think there are some more specifically when it comes to District 9 subversions in the way they handle this plot line of like their respective plot line. District 9 has aliens come to Earth, and instead of like your Independence Days, your Predators, like I said before, these are aliens that are in desperate need of help. They are like down in a bad way. Much in the same way that E.T. needs some help getting home, so do the prawns.
Nice. He wrote that 5 years ago. He was gearing up to say that.
And their home is a new tent.
It is, if you ask the multinational corporations of Earth that wish to exploit the prawns for profit. Whereas on the other side of things, Starship Troopers, given that it is a movie that is so steeped in this relationship to its source material, what's the word I want to use here? The contextual purpose that the aliens serve is part of that like grander narrative or that grander like rebuke of its source material. So it's very clear from Robert A. Heinlein's portrayal of the arachnids that they are ostensibly a stand-in for communism. With that context, you reflect on the way that the movie chooses to kind of lampoon that idea or portray them. They are all, selfless workers, working in pursuit of whatever the brain bugs decide. There are only the small thinkers in the world. This is a clear critique of the idea of the philosopher king as espoused by, Engels and Marx. And it is the ways in which they're essentially steeping their entire alien, xenology, I don't know, alien history, society, etc., in what is either, in Heinlein's case, an actual critique of a real political thing, or in Verhoeven's case, a critique of Heinlein's critique, which is, in my opinion, very funny. I love that use of it. I think it is a really clever way to, do some political prognosticating. And it's essential to engage with them in space for the purpose of like aliens come to Earth. They're like the way that the conflict of ideas is posed is very different than you going to the aliens. In this idea, it is like the Federation bringing freedom, bringing all sorts of their ideology to the alien homeworld. The idea of like they got to go to Klondatu and show them what's up is very much steeped in this idea of like we got to snuff out communism in all places it's found.
Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about this stuff, because something I was struggling with coming into this matchup was, I'm thinking of like the alien bracket, and I was thinking of like, obviously I'm not gonna like arachnids. And just the design like of them at all, and I genuinely do think the design of the prawns is really fun and cool. Like I really, really enjoy it.
The VFX is so good.
Yeah, it's good.
It looks
like genuinely,
really
like
good.
It's good. Like it holds up. Like really, really cool. And again, thinking about alien movies again, and this is like a more modern District 9 is a more modern alien movie, because I think it's our most modern that we have left in the bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just really it's interesting to see that and see our technology grow and like what we envision aliens as and all that stuff. But when I think of the Starship Trooper aliens, at least design wise, I'm just like I get giant bugs, but I hate arachnids, so I'm like I don't care about that exactly. But then so I was trying to think in my head, I was like, okay, but like what are the aliens standing for? Like what, as aliens in the alien bracket, what do these specific aliens bring? Each of them like bring to the table, talking about like representing aliens and humanity and like what else it does. So like you talking obviously like about communism, like that was a big part, but I was wondering if you could speak more, or Alex, if any one of you speak more on kind of what Starship Troopers aliens themselves do specifically for you.
Well, I think what's kind of fascinating about it and what's interesting compared to our other movies that have been in this bracket is that the aliens in Starship Troopers are very much, I don't know, they feel very much like just like a wave of alien. They aren't like trying to be like these iconic, like, you know, like super like nitty gritty specific things that like drive a franchise, right? Like the franchise is driven by the stuff in the movie rather than the aliens, right? Which I think is very different from all of the other movies that we've seen in these in this bracket so far. Of like, I guess not all of them. Independence Day is kind of the same way, where it's like you've got an alien, and I think though that the otherworldliness of it, like they have no humanoid shape, right? Like they are bug shaped. The prawns at least are like humanoid in the sense that they like stand upright, you know, they like
walking around on two legs.
They're walking around on two legs, like they are people, which is very purposeful in District 9. But I think there is something that I really like. Like this is our most alien in my mind. Despite not being bugs. Yeah, like they're not, you know, that they are less humanoid even than the Xenomorph, right? So I don't know. I think that like is worth a lot here.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. You were talking in the last bracket about just the merit of an alien movie to just be about like just all the aliens over there is big aliens. Like sometimes you need that kind of like simplicity about it. It's just like, okay, those are the aliens. This is why we have the alien movie. This is the Force.
Well, and I think what I like about Starship Troopers is that it does that, right? Like it says like, oh, there are the aliens over there, but it's a critique of that, right? Like it's not just saying, you know, in the same way, in the opposite of Independence Day, where Independence Day is like, there are the aliens over there, we gotta go stop them, they're coming to Earth. Like it's, you know, it's the opposite of that because it's critiquing and making fun of that in a way.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Matthew?
Yeah, the piece I was gonna throw out is I think an important component of the like Starship Troopers experience in regard to its aliens is like obviously this huge piece of like the communistic allegory, but then also as you like peel that back and take a step back, I think there's this like really interesting contextual piece in terms of the story. The movie itself is ostensibly framed as a piece of propaganda. You have the very literal propaganda snippets intercut throughout. And as you start to peel back those layers, I think there's this really interesting element of like Klandatu is like, it's a little bit different in the novel. So I'm talking strictly movie here. Klandatu is like 200,000 light years away. This idea that they threw an asteroid at Earth and landed it so precisely to destroy Buenos Aires is insane. And I think there's this really fun contextual element that if you like bring the fight to the bugs is another piece of propaganda. And like, I understand insofar as like, you know, alien movies, we want to talk about the aliens as a core piece of this experience. And I think a core piece of the way the arachnids or the bugs in Starship Troopers exist is they're essentially just like defending their home planet from a bunch of humans that rolled up on them. Like they're experiencing their Independence Day circumstance. And I think that's like a really interesting / fun way of viewing the aliens through.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Wow.
He just said wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Could you imagine if Owen Wilson was in either of these movies?
No.
Content.
Content. Oh, I thought you were like paused.
Yeah,
you keep seeming like you're gonna say something.
Sometimes when I have nothing to say, I just go. I act like I'm going to say something and hope something springs forth from my brain. And sometimes it doesn't happen.
Well, I will say, I do want to hear more about, because Matthew said he could talk on and on about Starship Troopers, and I want to know
I
more
certainly
about
can.
what you got.
Yeah, Matt, tell me more about Starship Troopers.
Yeah, so topics in Starship Troopers. There's so many things I would love to talk about. One I think is a little one that I think is just like a really interesting case. Hey, book reader here.
Best way to start any yeah. We should log in like that. That should be our sign-in for our movie podcast. Hey, book reader here.
Book reader here. Thank you.
You said it with a hard B. That was a threat.
So
Anyway,
something I think is a really interesting change when it comes to the novel versus the movie is in the novel, Johnny Rico is actually Juan Rico. He is I think Filipino Brazilian. I might be slightly misremembering that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or not Brazilian, Argentinian. And in the movie, Johnny Rico is clearly, as I alluded to in my introduction, like the stoic figure of the like all-American hero. Blonde hair, blue-eyed, sports ball playing, military doing, like he's not the brain guy. He's not in the Canine Corps. Not good enough for anything else. He's the war hero. He's the football star. He's the classically handsome. And it's an odd change when you think about it, especially in terms of like what Heinlein was going for. Part of the commentary Heinlein is trying to create is that the Federation is past racism, bigotry, lots of these ideas. Like they are a true meritocracy. They are only judge people by their worth, sort of thing. So like, why make that choice to make that? Like, why do that? And I think it's a very intentional choice from Verhoeven, in part because it's a little nod and a wink at the audience, insofar as like, hey, we're talking about fascism. What do people associate with fascists? Nazis. What do we associate with Nazism? Blonde hair, blue eyes. Like all the way through this movie's DNA are these like little bits and pieces of how it is very literally just built to make fun of or lampoon Heinlein's view, Heinlein's book, etc. Like, I like the book a lot. I think there are interesting things about it. I think it has dog shit politics. I think it is horrible in that regard.
God, that's so real.
And that is what I love so much about this movie is like, it's so clear that Verhoeven is responding to all of those little bits and pieces. Again, he didn't finish the whole book, but it's clear from early on what it's going to be about. And some of the other producers on it did read the whole thing. So just like being so thoroughly committed to hating your source material, I think is incredible.
Wow.
I said it last time. I said it last time. I think this is one of my favorite adaptations of all time.
Funny. I love the way you framed that. That's
so amazing to have such a vitriolic hate for presumably for both the source material and presumably the man who made it. And someone gave you $100 million to do it? That's absurd.
Did he do films before that? What was the timeline of his career? Like,
yeah, so this was 97.
Okay, so he did Total Recall, like he did, like, okay, so he had
RoboCop was 10 years before.
Okay, so like he wasn't like just some random schmuck who got 100. Like it wasn't that. That would have been even more impressive. But it was one of those things where it's like how fucking Damien Chazelle like only did Whiplash just for shits and giggles so he could fund La La Land, and then he did First Man and no one saw it because he just did the film like he wanted to do. Or like fucking, like these filmmakers, they'll build monies that will make studios a bunch of money, or build movies that'll make studios a bunch of money, and then they'll like fuck off and be like, all right, give me money, and then haha, tricked you, I get to do what I want to do.
It's like the reverse awesome. District 9.
Yeah, it is the reverse District 9.
It is also wild though that Paul Verhoeven made RoboCop in 87 and is like, hey, cops, like corporations, not so great, dude. And someone was still like, yeah, we should give him the book about like militarism and fascism. Admittedly, I think the production started as pseudo Starship Troopers, and then they slapped that sticker on there to be like, let's get some butts in seats, baby. And it became incredible.
If this wasn't billed as Starship Troopers, I do think it would have lost
oh yeah, absolutely.
I think chunk of their audience.
I think what is so, one, incredible that it made it to this, I get to talk about it more, but two, so incredible about this movie and this novel, is like, it is so intrinsically tied experientially to being familiar with some of the source materials elements. Like, I think the satire is still very clear. I think it's still a like fun movie on its own, but like the depth of the themes going on, the bit so functionally needs you to be familiar with the novel that the director doesn't want you to read. You know, like, that's incredible.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I could, again, go on ad nauseum in response to like all of the worst people you know and what they think about the novel. But again, we have 10 minutes.
Well, now we have 3.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, essentially, we've got a vote here.
Yeah.
I'm
very curious about the worst people you know, what they think about the movie.
That's like I don't mean literally. I don't
Jake,
mean the worst people I know.
Hey, Jake, that's a reason to vote for Starship Troopers.
I'm saying that more as like the worst people society knows. Read between the lines, you know?
Yeah, because people don't really like, you know.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex. That's the Neil Patrick Harris walking out in a literal SS uniform at the end of the movie moment.
Well, it's because
like,
the world,
I don't care how many of you die.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Oh my God. People sit down and watch this film and they're like, yeah, society should be like this. And it's like,
people sit down and watch that film and they're like, hey, if we were Nazis, we'd have psychic powers.
That's fair. The novel gets into the canine core. They got like psychic canines that you get attached to. Like, it's kind of fun.
Wow. Well, I'm ready to vote.
No,
okay,
say it.
Well,
this is gonna sway me.
Yeah, the last thing.
If I hate it, I know, you know.
Come on, you apes! You want to live forever? What the heck? That seems crazy. Why is that line in there? It is a
Planet of the Apes.
It's a super specific reference. All of the chapters open with like a little quote, and this one's attributed to like an unknown soldier. They call these mobile infantry apes because their power armor makes them, one, extra strong, and apes are stronger than people most of the time, and two, they got big old long arms. So it's a super specific reference to a single line in the novel, and that's really fun.
I can see you now, like, having the YouTube thumbnails, like, this is what you miss, and it's just a circle over, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, catch me writing a 3.5 hour long video essay about Starship Troopers.
You honestly should. I think you need to get it out. I think
I might. It's unhealthy.
You know what, Matt? Maybe you can get it out during the podcast, because I'm voting for Starship Troopers because I could listen to you talk about this movie for hours.
You can't keep getting away with this.
And I'm voting for District 9.
Make me
I'm from Buenos Aires and I say kill them all.
I can't vote for arachnids, man.
That's a really... Wait a minute, but the prawns... I guess they're not arachnid. They're specifically not arachnid at all.
Yeah, like what? Again, I literally made a promise before I voted. If anyone brought up Chappie, I wouldn't have voted for District 9, but you guys both forgot about it. So
that's true.
But now you just brought up Chappie
when you're introducing him.
Well, I already voted though.
It's locked in. It just means you can't vote for it in the finale.
Yeah.
Wow, wait, so Jake, you've already decided you can't vote for either of these movies in the finale?
Remember, it resets. We talked. We established these rules. For those diehard fans, we established these rules.
That's true. We're going to have people holding us consistent. So, between these two films, it's impossible. It hurts my heart and soul to do.
It's because
by that I mean, I do like both of these movies. That's why it hurts my heart and soul. It also hurts my heart and soul because Sorry, audience, you're an unwilling participant in my 3-hour-long Starship Troopers podcast.
So officially, you know that this
Yes.
year we've been doing the Jake bracket, the Alex bracket. This has unofficially become the Matthew bracket.
Put different movies in.
His will be canceled this upcoming year. We'll try
That's
again
honestly
next
fair.
year. We'll try
Totally
again
reasonable.
Matt, I can't believe I'd never heard about this movie, and now doing this podcast, I've heard you talk about it for an hour and 45 minutes, probably.
More than you've heard him talk about like a lot of other things.
Outside of like Olive Oil, Saw, StarCraft 2,
Sandals.
Ghost Rider, surprisingly.
Yeah, true. I'm a real ride or die for Shaft and Ghost Rider. Anyway, we have a finals matchup that
We do.
I think my brain has become poisoned.
We do.
It's Alien versus Starship Troopers, which would have been in the Matthew bracket, but we didn't get there.
Yeah. You could repitch it. It's your bracket.
It is your
That's true,
bracket.
but that's true. And maybe in the intervening time, Jake will read Dune.
And all have forgotten about Starship
True.
Troopers.
Please no.
No, it would be impossible.
It just
At
means I
this
get
point.
to relive all these facts. Anyway, we're wasting a bunch of time. What the hell's going on? We've got a finals matchup coming at you next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I promise I won't write a bunch of notes.
You already did. It's not like I won't rewrite another essay. It's like you already wrote the essay.
Anyway, so if you enjoyed today's episode.
Wait. Okay, I love that. He doesn't deny it, which means he has already thought about Alien versus
100%.
Starship Troopers and taken notes on it.
100%.
There's a lot we can unpack. Anyway,
I shouldn't have made the Woody Allen joke. I dug us in a hole. This is it. This is the end.
it's not your fault. You're very funny, Jake. Or if the joke was cut, it will be like, what was the Woody Allen joke? If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to rate and review the show on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. We're on all of them. Follow us on social media at Tough Cut Pod. That's where you'll find all the latest Tough Cut news with a W.
Where's your brain at?
I think news is normally spelled with a W.
Where's your brain at?
How you doing, bud?
I feel like you crumble whenever Starship. Like, are you hurting yourself?
No,
I think it takes so much brain power for him to just like rein himself in talking about Starship Troopers
You're right.
that he's just losing everything.
This is true.
I am actively burning. It's like burning a candle at both ends. If they liked what they heard, who should they share this episode with?
When people say burning the candle at both ends, I always picture them lighting a candle in their butt.
Huh.
If
Share
you
it
put
with
a
someone
candle
who's
in your
done
mouth,
that. Share
put a
this
candle in
episode
your
with
butt.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
Your body is just one big candle.
Because what other ends are you talking about? Burning a candle at both ends? Like, shut up. It's your butthole and your mouth hole.
Share it with someone who's done that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Or someone
I
who looks
hope so.
good in fishnets.